did decide we'll do a WTF is on Tari right now for you guys. I do have it pulled up here. You can go to tari.com and pull it up. They're just saying that they're making mining accessible for builders, so on. It's going to say turn your computer into a money machine. So you put your computer to work earning XTM. Obviously, that's up in the air now, I think, as far as how that's going to work due to the fact that XTM tokens now can be mined with FPGA and all that. I don't know what the efficiencies are. I'll dig into that, but I wanted to look into the coin. And then the big one obviously is going to be like, let's take a look at the tokenomics. So the big picture is that the Tari network is going to have two layers, layer 1 and layer 2. And layer 1 is secured by proof of work. Miners are rewarded with the XTM tokens. And layer 2 is a Byzantine fault-tolerant network fueled by the Tari token. So there you go. Similar to like an ETH or something. So it will have that capability of running, DeFi, NFTs, all that sort of stuff. There will be a 21 billion XTM initial supply with a tail emissions of 1% per year. 6.3 billion tokens, or 30% of the initial supply, will be pre-mined. So there was a pre-mine with significant lockups and vesting schedules. The pre-mined tokens will be used to support protocol infrastructure, offer community incentives and grants, and ensure a sufficient allocation of tokens for contributors and supporters. 100% of the tokens emitted by the protocol after the pre-mine go to miners who secured the Tari network. There's a deep relation between the XTM and XTR tokens. The only way to create XTR is to burn XTM at a 1-to-1 ratio. A transaction fee-oriented burn mechanism on the UDL network will help ensure overall token supply equilibrium, and there's much to cover. So they said, let's start with the layer 1 proof of work model. Obviously, massive pre-mine. So you want to keep that in mind, and I'd really want to see, and maybe they'll have it here. Let's scroll down. Okay. So 70% goes to miners. And then of the 30%, 4% is going to go to contributors. Well, so 4% total going to contributors, 12% to participants, 9% to infrastructure and grants, and 5% to the community. I assume a wise man once said, no token, no community. A wise man called Son of a Tech said, fuck your community. Fucking hate communities. It's always just a way to manipulate people into giving you their money, okay? You don't want to be in a community. What community means in crypto is your exit liquidity, okay? Don't become a community member. You are exit liquidity for the developers and the miners, everybody. That's what you are, okay? Frankly, that's what it is. What I was curious about is they say 5% has been set aside for incentive programs to encourage and reward people for their engagement with the Tari community. This is pretty common. I don't like these practices personally, but I will say they've become extremely common. KY Network's done it. Obviously, they've been doing it a lot. A lot of other tokens have been doing it. A majority of them have ended up being failures. So you want to keep that in mind. But a majority of cryptocurrencies have become failures. So, what is the ratio or indicator? It's hard to say. I mean, some people would say that, pre-mines and community funds and all these sorts of things drive adoption, which drive price up and keep developers, making money, so they work on the project more, which in theory provides more value. At the same time, what we do find is that when things start going south, when there are these types of tokenomics, the team will get disheartened and they're more likely to just dump it. And because it's not, fair launch, etc. It's not like the community can pick it up and run with it. It's like, well, now the devs and everybody dumped everything, the token's worthless, and there's nothing to really garner from it. So it has some upside from a theoretical argument that I've heard. At the same time, when things go south, they have the largest downside. From a mining perspective, obviously you're going to be mining to generate revenue. If you are generating revenue off of the project and you are making sure that you are covering your power bills and your expenses, good on you. And I hope that the project's successful enough for whatever portion of it you decide to hold, right? I do understand that, like, as miners, what we are is we are just, at the end of the day, contractors, right? We're just going to be the people that enable the network to function, and we get paid to perform a service. I do think there is some argument for, being a responsible miner and mining things that uphold the principles and ethics that you align with. At the same time, you also have to make money. So it is what it is. And these are the trade-offs that we all play with, right? I'm not a big fan of these tokenomics. I think, like, at least they're transparent and open about it. But there are the tokenomics for you guys right off the bat. The lockups are interesting, I suppose. So the initial lockups on infrastructure and grants is 180 days. That doesn't sound like a long time to me. But I guess it says 1/48th monthly. So it'll be 48 months, unlock 1/48th for 48 months after 180 days, which is 6 months. So full unlocks in 54 months, which will be what, just shy of 6 years? Be like about 5 years or something. Same with the community, except it's 1/12th. So that means you have 6 months plus 12, 18 months. So a year and a half. Contributors will be 365 days before the initial. So that's a year plus 60 months. So 5 years, right? And so 6 years total for the unlock of the contributors. And then 2-3 years for the full unlock or 100% unlock of the participants. These don't seem like terribly long lockup periods to me. You could argue over what is long and what is not, for sure. But there you go. So at mainnet launch, 756 million tokens will be available for liquidity providers. The balance will be unlocked every month for 4 years. And that will be for the infrastructure and grants. That's part of that. So I guess that's going to go into liquidity, which can help them get listings and that sort of thing. So there is all of that. And then there is a notice that it hasn't been registered under with the SEC. So keep that in mind as far as that's concerned. It says that there's 13,000 active miners currently. Let's go look at mining pool stats and see if it's up on there yet. I think it is. Community and participants. Oh, I typed that in wrong. Tari is not here yet. So do they, let's see if they have an explorer, right? Oops, Tari. .com. And let's see, Block Explorer is up. Let's see what info we get on that. Looks like block time target is 2 minutes. Relatively slow, I should assume 2.6 gigahash on RandomX. So is the RandomX the CPU side and then the SHA-3? And that's why you can merge mine. So the CPU mining stays profitable in that case. I take that back, right? Is that correct? Yeah, that has to be correct. Okay. So CPU miners stay relevant in this particular case. And then it looks like it's about a 50-50 split between RandomX and SHA-3. That's interesting. Okay. So then it does use RandomX as well as SHA-3. So that's kind of cool. I like that. Is there something that explains that? So that's why it says just computers hard work, huh? It doesn't. I'm not getting the answer to the question I'm looking for. Okay, so it changes algos in a few days. All right, well, let's get that update then. Let me see if I can pull that up. That would mean that, is that to kick off FPGAs and such, I assume? Let's go look. Let me get an invite real quick. So that would make, let me go look, because that'll be important information. Okay. So they're just adding. Okay, I see. So they're gonna, well, GPU is not going to be relevant, right? SHA-3 will essentially is going to be FPGA and ASIC. So they keep CPU. And then the final mix will be 25% RandomX merge mined, 25% RandomX independent, meaning I guess you aren't merge mining with Monero. 25% SHA-3, which could be up to FPGAs right now. And 25% Kakaru 29, which is GPU only for now, right? So what they're doing is akin to what Digibyte did back in the day, which is helping decentralize the network further by weighting the algorithms across a variety of different hardware, which we talked about last week. So if you're interested in that, go check out that video about Digibyte. That'll explain this a little bit more in detail. Initial impressions on Tari, I think it sounds like they're focused on allowing all hardware to mine, and that's really what they're pushing for, which is why we're seeing multiple algorithms. I assume they're going to end up, that means with some sort of all-in-one application that you can download that will then say, oh, put it, this algorithm on the CPU, this one on the GPU, so on and so forth. I'll do a how to mine video if you guys are interested on this one, in particular. Probably wait till the last algorithm comes out, just so we can not go back and have to fix it or anything like that. I can do a preliminary how-to over on Locals, though, on sonofatech.locals.com if you're a member over there. Not a fan of the tokenomics. I'm old school. I still think fair launch is the way to go. I get that there's the argument that then the developers don't want to work on it because they're not getting paid. But unfortunately, I've seen way more instances where the pre-mine gets dumped on the audience or on the community, and the developers disappear, more than I've seen the pre-mine be utilized to build the cryptocurrency. Outside, of course, there was Ethereum, right? Which did have its whole the foundation, the pre-mine, all that stuff. So I think it really depends on what they do, if it'll succeed. But I still think as far as do I trust it, they get a tick against them whenever they're not fair launch. If that's fair for me to say. Obviously, a lot of developers disagree with me, but I think that's just, it's the safest way to do it. And I think, if you're developing a token that's proof of work, where's your own farm? Why aren't you, if you believe in your project, why aren't you just mining yourself? And then benefiting from the price appreciation based off of what you've already done. That's fair launch. That is the way it should be, in my humble opinion. But, that's not the way coins are getting launched anymore, especially in the proof of work space. I think the last fair launch was Kaspa. So it's been quite some time since we've had a full fair launch that was at least unique, I should say. I do think Tari appears to be unique. It is utilizing algorithms that have already been around for a while. That being said, weighted distribution of the hash power is an interesting way to play it. And so I think it provides some opportunity for a variety of hardware. And I like that. Obviously, Digibyte's done that in the past, so there's that. If you have any questions, you just let me know, and we will end it there, I think, today. I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.